Well, everybody, the news that we were all kind of speculating and waiting for has finally hit, and man, does it kind of hurt, even though it probably shouldn't. Welcome back to the channel. Carey Price is gone. He has been traded to the San Jose Sharks in exchange for Gannon LaRock. So whoever that is, but so he's going to us. We also sent a 2026 fifth round pick to the Sharks, kind of as a thank you very much, which in reality is kind of a low price. I think a lot of people were speculating that the Canadians would have to give up quite a bit to get rid of the Carey Price contract. So I think in all in all respects, I think we kind of got off easy a little bit in what we actually had to give up in order to get rid of that $10.5 million cap hit. So yeah, I think the Canadians are kind of in a good spot going into the season now, and I think getting rid of that contract a year before it actually expires kind of indicates that the Canadians are looking to add players as we get into the season, maybe closer to the trade deadline, maybe closer to now. Who knows? I think it's very clear for all Canadians fans that I think the 2C spot is kind of in limbo. Is Kirby not going to fill that spot? Is he not? So I think that might be a source of concern there, where Kent Hughes might be looking to kind of add pieces. And now that we've got this space we've got, I think we have a little bit over $4 million in cap space now, that we can add somebody into that slot, or maybe add some other depth piece that'll help us win some games this season. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. In the meantime, though, I think it would be a good idea to kind of look back at the last 20 years, look back at Carey Price's career and the legacy he left for Montreal and the Canadiens. He played 712 games for the Canadiens, had a .917 average save percentage over that time. He had 49 shutouts. He had the franchise record for games played and wins for the Canadiens, which is definitely saying a lot considering the rich history of the Montreal Canadiens in the NHL. And then, of course, his Vezina, Jennings, Ted Lindsay, and Hart Trophy in the 2014-15 season, as well as a Bill Masterton Trophy in 2022. Outside of the NHL, he has a gold medal in the 2007 World Juniors, the 2014 Olympics, and also a gold in the 2016 World Cup of Hockey. So yeah, a pretty storied career. Unfortunately, I would love to be able to add a 2021 Stanley Cup champion to that list, but outside of that, I think it's fair to say he has a pretty stocked trophy closet, and he definitely left a huge legacy for the NHL in general and for the Montreal Canadiens franchise. And on the other side of this deal, we can talk a little bit about Gannon LaRock on the other side of this trade today. He's 22 years old. He's a right-handed defenseman. Played 9 games 2 seasons ago in the 2023-24 season with AHL's San Jose Barracuda. He got 2 points, goal, and assist in that game. So definitely not somebody who's going to be making big waves for the Canadiens, but it is something to get back in a trade which we probably would have all expected did not get anything back. So it's definitely something. So another kind of more interesting news, I actually saw this morning, that Rob Hutson, which is the father of Lane Hutson, was on the Recruits Habs Cast podcast, which I'll link down below, talking about kind of Lane Hutson being left off of the USA like orientation camp for the Olympics. And I think he had some interesting things to say, and I think it kind of just paints like the opposite kind of stance from what Lane had to say about it when he was interviewed about the same topic. So it's just kind of an interesting secondary perspective on the whole issue there. So on the podcast, Rob Hutson said, "I think our family has made a commitment to Team USA hockey throughout the years. I don't know what Bill Guerin was thinking. I don't know him. He probably obviously doesn't know Lane. We have to live with how they see it. We don't have to agree with it. This fuels anyone, especially if you're as competitive as Lane. There's no animosity towards it. They have the opportunity to make the decisions they make, so be it. And then this is kind of the shocking part. He says, "You never know what happens in the future. My boys are also Canadian." So yeah, when I read that last part, I was like, did he really say that, or is that fake? Or but yeah, that's definitely quite the statement to make about somebody who just gone through their rookie season. And if I'm being honest, I think that Lane Hutson definitely got snubbed out of that orientation camp. Obviously, I'm a bit biased as a Canadians fan myself, but I think winning the Calder as a young U.S. born defenseman is definitely worthy of at least getting an invitation to the orientation camp, especially when there are other guys that are kind of younger and somewhat unproven and so not necessarily considered like in the top 10 of defensemen. But Lane Hutson was literally on NHL's top 20 defensemen in the NHL right now, which that's a whole other debate as to whether or not that's actually true. But even still, I think the season he had was definitely worthy of being invited, especially considering the amount of time he's spent playing with Team USA prior to being in the NHL in the first place, with like the development camp and World Juniors and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's definitely a snub for sure. But do I think that it warrants switching your nationality to go play for Team Canada? I'm not sure. And to be perfectly clear, I don't think that Lane Hutson at this point in his career would make the USA Olympic roster or the Canadian roster in that fantasy scenario where he actually would change. But I think it's just, a sign of respect for somebody who's had the season that he's had and outperformed a lot of other American defensemen in the NHL. I think I would have liked to have seen him at the camp, but I don't think that he would have actually made the team. I think it's just, something for his development. I think it would have been good for him to get that experience of being at that camp with all of those talented American players. But yeah, going back to Rob Hutson, the dad's comments, justifiably so. A lot of people are kind of giving him shit for that a little bit, for that making that statement. Even Brad Marchand went and commented on that and told Hutson to get his dad in check. So, and I mean, I definitely understand it. I think that's maybe more of an emotional take. I'm not sure when that was recorded, if it was actually recorded as of yesterday or so, or if it was more closer to when that roster was announced. But even still, I think maybe that wasn't the greatest thing to say. But at the same time, I think I've heard from other places that like Lane Hutson's not, we know him enough to know that he's not necessarily the person who's going to be the one saying those things and standing up for himself in that way, as he's still essentially a rookie, a young player. So it's nice to see that he's got people in his corner that are kind of taking his side on things. I think Habs Fan TV, who I follow, said something similar to that. Like there's something in his corner that's standing up for him and stuff like that. So I think I can definitely respect that. I think maybe you don't go as far as to say that you're going to switch to Team Canada, but it's definitely good to see that Lane's got some people in his corner that are going to stand up for him. And I think going forward into this season, I think it's really only good news for Canadians fans, because we're going to get a Lane Hutson with a spark, something to play for, a chip on his shoulder. So I think we'll definitely be the benefactors of that decision in the long run. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out this season. But yeah, that's the bulk of the news that's going on right now. We're in September, so the NHL preseason training camp, all that stuff is around the corner. So exciting for that. We'll have to see what the team does management wise, and once the players get back on the ice, we'll have a lot more to talk about. So I hope you guys will all tune in for that, and I will catch you guys in the next one.